Have you ever gone online to order a new game, but then you see it has some sort of special edition? Perhaps it goes under the name of Collector's or Deluxe Edition, but basically it's a box with a bunch of cool licensed products from the game. Now this seems great until you see the price tag. The prices for these can range from only a few bucks extra to several hundreds more. Obviously, what comes in the box can vary greatly depending on the price, so I decided to take some of the games I've played over the past few years and check out their special editions, because while I do consider many of these to be scams, I actually think there are some great deals here. First, let's check out the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom's Collector's Edition for $130. Included is the game, a steelbook case, a poster, a pin set, and an art book. This all comes in a very simple looking box. Value-wise, I'd say this isn't technically a scam, but in reality, this stuff kinda sucks for $130. First of all, this game is already $70, which is fine I guess, but it's still a lot. The steelbook you get with it is, in my opinion, pretty ugly. The poster is actually made of steel and has a magnet that you can attach to your wall, but it's literally just the box art of the game. The pin set is okay, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't use any of these personally, but whatever. Honestly, the best part of this entire edition is the art book, which I don't really have anything bad to say about actually. So summing this all up, you get the game, a case I'd never use, a pin set I'd never use, a tiny steel poster, and an art book I'd look at twice and then forget about. Not exactly worth $130 in my opinion. Now let's take a look at the special edition for Breath of the Wild, which cost $100. This came with the base game, a Switch carrying case designed like the Sheikah Slate from the game, a soundtrack CD, a poster of the map of Ancient Hyrule, and a collector's coin. Now to me, this already sounds better than the Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition. I think that the standout of this set has to be the carrying case, which is actually really useful because when this came out, it was one of the first games on the Switch. There was like one other official carrying case out at the time, and that one was kinda crappy and hard to find. This thing looked official, and the fact that it was something right out of a game was even cooler. Of course, the soundtrack CD is cool, although nowadays it is pretty hard to find somewhere to even play these. The poster is fine. It's supposed to be this weather-worn ancient map of Hyrule, but it kinda just looks ugly to me, and I don't think I'd hang it up in my room. Just comparing it to some other games' physical maps like the one that came with Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm not really a fan of this one. As for the collector's coin, who actually cares? Anyway, after looking at both of these special editions of Zelda, it's obvious to me that the Breath of the Wild version is just better. For only $100, you get significantly more value than the Tears of the Kingdom one, which cost $130. The carrying case alone might have just made it better, to be honest. Before moving on from Nintendo games, I want to mention the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Collector's Edition because I'm not too sure how worth it was. It only came with the game, a steelbook, and a Smash Bros. Pro controller, but it cost $140. For reference, the game cost $60 and the Pro controller alone cost $75, so you're basically paying $5 to have a steel case and not the regular case. Honestly, not worth it for me, but I guess it's cool for the sentiment of getting the game and the controller in one box. Before we move on to the bigger price points, I want to show an example of a game that actually gave insane value with its collector's edition, and that's Persona 5. Included in this game's Take Your Heart edition was the base game in an amazing looking steel case, which by the way came with a slipcover making it look better on the shelf. Also included was a Morgana plushie, a sick art book, a CD soundtrack, and a replica of the school bag from the game. Everything here is stylish and fairly high quality. It's clear that Atlus was thinking about what the fans would actually want in a collector's edition, and they went ahead and added it in. Huge bonus points for actually caring that most collectors don't like steelbooks that much because they don't match with the other game's cases, so they added a plastic sleeve. The CD is also a great addition because Persona 5 has one of the best soundtracks of all time. The collector's box itself looks amazing too, and features stylish artwork from the game that would look great displayed on a shelf. Oh, and the reason I haven't said the price was because this all costs $90 on release. That's insane. For only $30 more, you got all this cool stuff. Comparing that with the two Zelda collector's editions around this price point, that's just crazy to me. But of course, collector's editions can get a little ridiculous in terms of pricing. Today, you'd be lucky to ever find one ever dipping below $100. But why? Well, it's because of a few reasons. Number one, video games themselves are just getting more expensive, and games that typically get collector's editions are usually $70 alone. Also, it seems like recently companies want to include include less useful things and more big items, for example, statues and figures. The easiest example of this actually comes from another Atlus Collector's Edition, being the Persona 3 Reload Aegis Edition. Oh my goodness, this Collector's Edition is overpriced. I'm gonna list everything here that comes with it, and I want you to guess how much this costs. It comes with the base game with a couple DLC skins, a soundtrack CD, an art book, and a pretty small Aegis figure. By the way, this does not include the expansion pass that comes with a bunch more DLC. Any guesses on how much this costs? Because if you said $200, you're right. This is absolutely ridiculous. Some people pay this much to rent an apartment, and this is what they're charging basically for a mediocre figure and some other stuff. There's not even a steelbook or an expansion pass included in this, which makes no sense. If I'm gonna buy a collector's edition of a game, it should include everything the game can offer, right? If this didn't include the statue and instead a plushie and a steelbook, maybe it could have been priced better, but to me, this is a scam. I know some people really love this set, and the Aegis figure is cool, but from my perspective, this is just sold because Atlus knows they have some well-off fans who love their series. Continuing with more overpriced nonsense, we have the Spider-Man 2 Collector's Edition. Included is a steel case featuring Peter Parker and Miles Morales fighting Venom, a 19-inch statue, and a bunch of other pre-order and deluxe edition stuff. This doesn't seem too bad, right? Well, what I didn't tell you is that this doesn't come with the physical game. They literally give you a steel case with no disc to put in it. You do get the deluxe digital edition of the game, but this just seems so silly to me. Worst of all, you know how much this costs? $230. Look, I won't lie, this statue that it comes with is sick. It's actually really big too, although I do have some concerns about Spider-Man hanging on by a thread. But besides the statue inflating the price a ton, I feel like there's not much value with this. I mean, a bunch of DLC content is cool, but I feel like the main draw for collector's editions are the physical items, and the fact that this comes with a steel case that doesn't even have the physical copy of the game is just sad. So far, I've struggled to find collector's editions of games that are actually worth it, until I stumbled upon Elden Ring's $230 Premium Collector's Edition. Now, this comes with the game, a steelbook, an art book, stickers, a digital soundtrack, a poster, a beautiful Melania statue, and her massive helmet. That was a lot of stuff for sure, but was it actually worth it? Well, in my opinion, yes. From my perspective, a collector's edition should have stuff that is either exclusive or useful. Otherwise, it feels a little pointless to buy a bundle of stuff that you can get elsewhere. Now, is a massive helmet particularly useful? Probably not, but let's just say that it is still extremely valuable to this day. I know it is pretty frowned upon to get collector's editions just for the purposes of reselling them, but I think that collector's editions should be worth a lot for resale. Just scrolling through some of the premium collector's editions sold on eBay, I've seen them go for $2,000 unopened. Just comparing the sheer monetary value of this versus some of the other collector's editions I've gone over today, I'd say that this is one that is certainly worth the extremely high price. Unfortunately, it's sort of hard to tell whether something is going to end up being really rare in the future, because sometimes collector's editions can sell out fast or not at all. The whole idea of these increasing in value over time can also give incentive for companies to charge more, since reselling is just becoming more and more popular over the years, and they know people might be willing to make a big investment. At the end of the day, the purpose of the collector's edition is to make more money off of die-hard fans, whether anyone wants to admit that or not. How companies do this can vary though. When Atlus released that Persona 5 Collector's Edition way back then, you can tell that they thought about how fans would respond. Comparing that to their Persona 3 Reload set, I'd say that they cared a lot more back then. As someone who doesn't really have the disposable income to afford these ridiculous prices, I'm clearly not the target audience. But even I can tell when things are being sold for far too high of a price. I wish more collector's editions could be in that low $100 range again, like they were just a few years ago, because right now it feels like we're just spending $200 for a figure and a steel case. It's not like these super expensive editions are literal scams, but I feel like these are only made for people with a lot of money, while everyone else just gets the base game with nothing. I think if companies started introducing more mid-tier collector's editions without crazy statues or anything, it would be better. For now, it looks like I'll be sticking with the crappy free pre-order bonuses that every company wants to include these days.